What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cafecito and Kane Show, Thursday night edition. Wanted to hop on here and do a few recruiting updates. Obviously, there was some news today with Lamar Brown choosing LSU to the surprise of not many. Before I dive into that, please go down, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it with your friends. All that stuff, comment, all that engagement helps with the algorithm, helps us get more exposure for the channel so we can continue to grow the channel. So please do that as I take a sip of my cafecito. Cheers, by the way. All right. So obviously today the big news was D tackle, one of the top D tackle prospects, if not the top in America, Lamar Brown from the state of Louisiana, ends up choosing LSU, as many of us expected. You know, attending a high school that's literally on LSU's campus, it kind of makes it a little difficult to compete with that, especially LSU being in the SEC and all that stuff. But Miami definitely swung for the fences here, as Mario likes to do with a lot of potential recruits. He likes to go for the big boys. Sometimes he lands them, like Jackson Cantwell, like Justin Scott, like Francis Mauinoa. But sometimes, as we've seen in the last month, he will miss. When you swing big, sometimes you connect and hit a home run. Sometimes you strike out. So let's look really quick at where the class stands as of today. One second. All right, so let me see if I can show my... it's not popping up. That is really strange. Sorry, guys, a little technical difficulty. I thought I was going to be able to share my my screen to show you the recruiting class, but you know what? I'll just tell you. Screw it. So we're currently ranked number 9 because LSU, obviously landing Lamar Brown, leapfrogged us and they jumped to number 7. So it's usually those battles for the big boys that can swing a recruiting class ranking from 9th to 6th or from 7th to 3rd. So down the stretch, be mindful of that and keep an eye on those matchups, because they're gonna have a huge effect on where Miami finishes. I still think we finish comfortably in the top 10. I really do. I have faith in Mario's ability to close down the stretch. And, I think he'll flip one or two guys here. And, like I've been saying, there's going to be a few guys he lands that are not on the fans' radar right now. The term board expansion has been thrown around a lot. And people are acting like, we're the first ones to ever do that. It's like teams shuffle their boards all the time. No team gets every target that they want. And some teams swing and miss on targets late in the cycle. So what do? You've got to reshuffle. You've got to kind of scramble a little bit and look at some of those past seeds that you planted, those past relationships. So that's kind of what's going on at 3 different positions: defensive tackle, wide receiver, and safety. The good news with this class, and the reason it's ranked in the top 10, is you've got a stellar O-line class, headlined by the number 1 player in the country, Jackson Cantwell. You got, in my opinion, a great quarterback prospect in Darion Coleman. Very excited about him. You got a top 10 tight end. You got a top, I don't know off the top of my head, top 10 to 15 wide receiver, top 20-ish wide receiver in Van Spafford, who's got a ton of speed. Got a couple of good edge rushers, and you loaded up on corner. So those are the positive aspects of the class. But as I said, safety, D tackle, and wide receiver, 3 premium positions, don't get me wrong, that we do need to address. So the focus of this episode is going to be safety, though, because this weekend, and then 2 weeks from this weekend, you got to combine 3 potential safety targets that Miami's going after that are making their college selection. As expected, sort of like South Florida receivers heading up north for whatever reason, no shots fired. Yeah. Again, Lamar's from that area, so that was an uphill climb from the beginning. What up, John LSU? Shocker. Yep. So let's look at the 3 safety targets right now. Let me see if my screen share actually works this time. Yes. So volume going in and out. Okay. I'm gonna hold the microphone a little closer. Yeah. Let me know how the volume is, guys. How the audio is, because yeah, on my end, yeah, it looks like it's working fine. But let me know. So let's bring up the little graphic here. First, we got Tyreek Green, who is set to announce this coming Saturday at 4 p.m., as you see by the tweet right there. Pretty cool graphic. You see Miami right there shown prominently in the middle. You got Georgia, and you got Auburn. So it's a 3-team race. Miami, no stranger to this, going up against 2 SEC teams. One that has done a lot of winning in the last 5-6 years. Georgia's won a couple of national championships, has been arguably the best program in the country the last 5 years. And then you got Auburn, who hasn't won much of anything lately, but they do have the whole SEC thing in their back pocket. But here's the interesting thing about this recruitment. You got Georgia, who already has 3 safety commits for this class. They're right now ranked number 2, their class overall. Georgia has the number 2 class in the country right now. They've already loaded up. They got 3 safeties committed. They got Zach Fort, they got Kalen Jones, and Jordan Smith. 2 of those 3 I just mentioned are blue chippers, by the way. They're not just, throwaway guys. 2 of them are, one's a 4-star and one's like a high 4-star. So not a ton of room for him in that class. He's going to have to battle it out with a lot of guys. So I don't, just personally, I don't see that going Georgia's way. But then Auburn right now has the 78th class in the country. Okay. And I don't know, man. They got 1 safety committed right now. Like I said, Auburn has not done a lot of winning lately. But I feel like being the 78th ranked class in the country, they're desperate. They're desperate to land somebody. So they're going to be fighting. And I think that's what that, plus them being in the SEC, they always have that at their disposal. They are, they're going to really make this kid a priority, So it's going to be a battle, but I do think Miami can get this one done here. There's opportunity because Miami, as loaded as they are at corner, don't have any safeties committed right now. Miami, Auburn, and there's the rating. Again, like I always say, I go by the composite. The composite score is a .9344. Very, very solid player, nearly a top 150 player nationally. And he's the number 21 player overall in the state of Georgia. 247 has him ranked 37th in the state of Georgia. That's quite a drop-off, but the rest of the composite on 3 top 20 player in the state. And Georgia, as you know, is a loaded state. There you go, seeing some highlights there. That's him making an interception. Great makeup speed, by the way. He covers a lot of grass. See another play there. Not letting the receiver. Look at that insane diving catch. I'm going to show that again. There we go. Here, drop back. He's running with that receiver, and boom, diving interception. Amazing play. Not an interception, but he knocked the ball away. But yeah, that's a hell of an athlete right there, and definitely someone that would fit this defense well with Featherman. Not the biggest kid in the world. He's listed at, what's he listed at? 5'10", I want to say. Yeah, 5'10", 191. But a little more stout. Probably going to come in a little over 200 pounds. He's physical, but he's an athlete, man. He's a track guy, runs a 10.98 in 100 meters. So that's, anything under 11 seconds is really, really good. When you get down into the 10.7s, that's like Derek Cooper speed. That's elite. That's like 4.3, a 4s. This is more like probably like in the 4.5 range. If I had to pull an estimate out of the air, but 10.98 is very solid from what I understand. But that is one option. Like I said, I believe the battle really there is between us and Auburn. And I think playing time and playing time is going to be a big thing that we can sell there. So he's announcing Saturday. Hopefully we can land him. And Mario's been planting a lot of seeds in Georgia, if you haven't noticed, in the last 4 cycles, including the current one. So 26 going all the way back to 2023, we already have 8 commits from the state of Georgia. Okay. The one from this year being John Tavius Wyman. And remember that name for later, because that's going to be important for one of these prospects. But the next one is Blake Stewart. This dude, if you haven't seen his tape, actually, let me pull up his profile right now. If you haven't seen his tape, please go and treat yourself to that, because dude is an absolute playmaker. He's a ball hawk. Very amazing instincts. That's what jumped out at me watching his tape. I mean, his instincts are off the chart. I believe that's something you can't really teach. Very high IQ kid, very fast, as you see him there, running back an interception for a touchdown. That's him back there returning a kickoff. I love DBs, especially safeties, that are dangerous once the ball's in their hands. Reminds me a lot of Ed Reed back in the day and Sean Taylor. I love the ones that whenever they get the ball in their hands, they're a threat to score. It doesn't matter where they are on the field. I love DBs like that. So, because nothing breaks another team's that flips an entire game. So, love this kid. Again, absolute freaking stud playmaker. He is also choosing this weekend, but on Sunday. So, he currently has crystal ball predictions sending him over to Clemson. Clemson, as we know, has been a terrific program for the last 10, 12 years. So, the battle's there. It's between us and them. And let me see who else. Michigan, that's another one we're battling him for. So that'll be an interesting one to watch down the stretch. Either one, him or Tyreek Green, I'd be pretty happy. Now, the third guy. Now, before I get into that, let me make sure I didn't miss anything here. Okay, John, it was tough not getting committed from Lamar Brown, but it's okay. We will get our share of recruits from Mario. I believe in Mario Go Canes. Yes. Cheers to that. We go through this every summer. I really believe we will close strong down the stretch. We tripped up a little bit at the end there last year, but even with that, we ended up with the number 14 class, I think, last year, because we lost a couple of guys last minute, like literally last minute. Look, that's going to happen, especially in today's recruiting, but it could happen the other way for us too. We could steal a couple of guys last minute at the 11th hour. You never know. So signing day is going to be interesting to watch this year. I think you're going to see a ton of flips just nationally. But at the end of the day, it was still a very good class that addressed a lot of needs last year. And I believe in Mario at the end of the day. This is his bread and butter. Recruiting is what he does. He will figure something out at these 3 positions. I believe he will. All right. So that's Blake Stewart, pretty cut and dry. Just amazing player that I would love to have on this team. And I think he's honestly underrated. Where's he rated? He's a 4-star in the composite, number 24 safety in America, number 307 overall nationally. I think he's better than that, honestly. Like, much better than that. The offer came out quickly after Brown went to LSU. We behind D tackles are strong safeties. Yep. We wave the white flag. Mario knows we're not getting a top D tackle in 2025. Listen, maybe we're not getting a 5-star at D tackle. I don't think Mario's waving any kind of white flag, just to be straight with you. I do believe that he's going to keep working on James Johnson. He's right down the street at Northwestern High School. You can drop by his games. You can, keep that relationship going. There, you definitely never know. You never know, especially if he comes down and visits a couple of home games. We got 8 home games this year. Plenty of opportunity for him to sit and watch us pull off an upset against Notre Dame. Watch us beat down the rival Gators. That Louisville game, I think it's going to be on a Friday night. That should be a fun one. There's going to be some opportunities for him to see the atmosphere and see, oh, no, Miami's back to playing big boy football and, starting to win some of these games. So I think that can have an influence on a guy like James Johnson. Honestly, if between James Johnson, Lamar Brown, and Tristan Keys, if you flip one of them and you also land Derek Cooper, good. I think all's forgiven. I'd be more than set if you do that. But now we offer a 3-star D tackle. I think we know we can't get a 5-star or 4-star. Listen, the 1 3-star D tackle I'm thinking of, Viliami Moala. I was practicing. Viliami Moala, who was committed to Oregon previously. Go look at his camp footage. I think it was Inside the U posted something. He must have been a year younger because he was a lot smaller in that tape. Look at a more recent one, and dude is just all like 340 pounds on paper, but like doesn't look it. Carries it very well. Every bit of 6'3". Very powerful, very explosive. Does the hand fighting part of the game very well. Has a lot of tools in his arsenal as a D lineman to get past blockers. I think like very much a technician. I like a guy like Moala a lot. If you can't get a Lamar Brown, a James Johnson, okay. If I'm in charge of recruiting D linemen, I'm saying, okay, if you can't get one of those big boys because they're rare, there's not a lot of them. If you can't get one of them, all right, you already got Anthony Kennedy. Okay, basically go get me another Anthony Kennedy. Go get me a guy with, he might not be elite in the recruit rankings, but get me a guy with elite size. You can't teach 6'3", 340 and explosive. You can't teach that. Get me 2 of those, him and Kennedy. I'm set. Just get me 2 bullies. I'm good with those 2. Plus the DNs we got, Shari Charles, love him. Tyson Bacon, who may eventually bulk up a bit and be a 3-tech D tackle. I like him a lot. I don't know if we're going to land Tank Jones. Not too sure about that one. This is where I would have loved to have landed Nolan Smith, by the way, but we didn't. But if you can land a guy like Moala, I'm not saying we were going to, but a guy like him, and maybe add another edge rusher here, I think you're more than okay. And then you can just, again, focus on trying to flip Keys, landing Cooper, and landing one of these safeties that I'm talking about today. If Miami comes out and handles business beating Notre Dame and Florida, the last thing they're going to have, I say this all the time, winning cures all. And I know Auburn, A&M, USC, all these teams, what do they have in common? They haven't won anything of any significance yet. I mean, yeah, A&M, they've had their 8-9 win seasons here and there, but what can they sell? The SEC. What can USC sell? The Big Ten. Also, living out in LA, that doesn't hurt, especially for some of these kids. I'm sure they like that. We don't have that to sell. What we do have to sell is like, hey, we're starting to win, and by winning the ACC, you got a quick path to the playoffs. That's what we have to sell. It's like you are going to play in big games here. We got to prove it. We got to go out and win a little bit more than the other teams do. Kind of like what Clemson did. Clemson dominated the ACC for so long, they're not lumped in with the ACC. They're thought of as, they're just a great program that wins a lot. That's how we got to do it. One hurdle at a time, just get Cooper. Man, that would, once we lock him up, that would be massive. I think the whole fan base, including myself, will be breathing a lot easier. And for the record, I feel like we're still in the lead. I feel like we're still the team to beat for him. He is priority number one. All right, before I log off here, I just want to talk about that third safety who is going to commit on July 25th. As of right now, that is his commitment date. And the young man that I'm talking about, of course, from Jonesboro, Georgia, is Cortez Redding. Now, I asked you to remember the name Jontavius Wyman. Reason why is because they're teammates. Jontavius and Cortez, they play in the same defensive backfield. All right, so that's a big reason for Cortez to come down here. Now, from what I've read, there's also at times over the last few weeks, couple months, there have been signs that he's leaning NC State. All right. And I can understand why NC State. I know there's a familial relationship there. One of the assistant coaches, the main coach recruiting him, has known him since he was a kid. I think he and the mom were like friends from high school or something. I read something about that. So there's a familial connection there. That's rooted very deep when you've known a coach since you were a kid. That's tough to battle against. But he's choosing between the following four schools. He's choosing between Indiana, Miami, NC State, and Ole Miss. Those are his final four. He put out a graphic a couple of weeks ago. Ole Miss, I get, SEC, and they've been pretty good last few years with Lane Kiffin. You got us, Miami. We're not far, being in the state of Florida. We're bordering states. And then NC State, like I said, they got the relationship there. And then you got Indiana. Supposedly, he really, really enjoyed his visits with Miami and Ole Miss. But I look at this list. I look at where he's rated. He's .90 player, nearly top 300. He's a top 25 safety. Blue chipper for sure. Smooth athlete, very, very high football IQ. That's why I like Cortez a lot. And audio and video are choppy. Let me X out some of these windows. You guys let me know if that helps. And don't need that one anymore. Okay. All right. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Sorry about that. So with Cortez, this is kind of a weird one because I look at his rating. Solid 4-star kid, blue chipper, great athlete, quick, great instincts, very intelligent, high football IQ kid, great play recognition. He checks off a lot of intangible boxes for me that I would love to have as a safety. And it's something we've been missing as a safety, aside from Jaquan Johnson, and Cam Kinchens, obviously, we've been missing that. So would love to bring a kid like him into the fold. I think he's an excellent player. But I look at this and I'm like, man, that kind of rating, and he's choosing between Indiana and NC State and Ole Miss. It's like, Miami, go get this kid. Like, what are you waiting for? I feel like he's ripe for the picking. I don't know about you guys, but that's how I feel. The way his recruitment's kind of gone, I feel like, are they making him a priority? I hope they are. Because if they are making him a priority, if it's like kind of like the Tyson Bacon recruitment that, his name, kind of started popping up late and then we got him. Hopefully this is a situation where we're kind of holding our cards close to the chest and all of a sudden crystal balls start popping for Redding like the day before. And like, oh, shit, I didn't know we were recruiting him that hard. Okay, we'll take him. I hope it's one of those recruitments. Because, again, he's very, very good, and I think if we really want him and make him a priority, I think Miami could get him relatively easily. Anything new from Crybaby Coach from Wisconsin? No, nothing new. Not that I'm aware of, honestly. It's not something I'm paying too much attention to, like the lawsuit and everything. So, Johnny, doing all right? What's going on with the Canes? Yeah, no. If you're just hopping on, rewind. I've been talking, about 20, 25 minutes, just talking about Lamar Brown and a few safety targets. Meanwhile, Dabo's trying to add a second chapter to his legacy, and there's only 2 teams in the conference that can stop that, and it doesn't look like FSU is up to the task. You are correct. You are correct. That would be us. Then there's also SMU. They're not bad. But, yeah, I feel like this year the only team that would be up for the task is Miami to knock Dabo off that throne. Very pinnacle year for Miami. We can all agree this is an important year for Mario. It absolutely 1,000% is. Mario has to win on the field this year because it's all of his guys that he has recruited. Currently, he has the bar set at 10 wins. Yep. No, I totally agree. This is an incredibly important year for Mario because you are losing Carson Beck. You're losing probably 4/5, if not all, of your offensive line. So not just winning, but having a few blowouts where you can send your backup O-linemen out there and develop them, that's going to be huge to get them some experience. Jackson Cantwell probably starts next year, so he's going to be good, but he's going to be young. It's going to be his first year. Freshman tackles always have those games here and there where they look like freshmen. It's part of the learning curve. Defense, I feel like is still going to be pretty solid. Skill positions, I feel like is still going to be pretty solid. But yeah, O-line and quarterback, big question marks for next year. Might take a bit of a step back just because we're going to be playing younger guys. Depends on who shakes loose in the portal and we go get, who we're willing to spend money on, but we will see. So yeah, for that reason, to win this year is extremely important. If you really love the channel, love what you do, please check that audio. It's really bad. Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Yeah, hopefully you guys have been able to at least hear me somewhat. Yeah, I'll have to check my I'll have to check the microphone. Maybe there's something wrong with it. But anyways, have a good night, guys. I just wanted to hop on and talk a little recruiting with you. Didn't want to be on for more than half an hour. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If anything significant happens, I'll try to pop on and do a show. We got a couple of safeties committing. Hopefully it's not elsewhere. Hopefully at least one of them commits to Miami. But anyways, have a good night. Go Canes.